My name is Eitan Chatayat, and welcome to I'm That podcast, where I get to talk to some pretty incredible people. Some are friends and colleagues, some are clients, and some are people I haven't even met yet. On I'm That, we'll hear from them about who they are, what they do and why, stuff they love or hate, mistakes they've made, victories they've had. They're all known for something, but by the time we're through, the hope is they'll have revealed some things we didn't know about them. Our talk may be deep, profound, funny, who knows really. One thing for sure, it'll be interesting and honest. So if you're up for that, thank you for joining me on I'm That, and here we go. Matan Peretz is an Israeli stand-up comedian and content creator who recently gained a lot of exposure due to his Hasbara videos during his reserve service in Hebron, as some people call it. Matan is funny. I'd say that you're funny. He's a nice guy. Yeah, check that box. He's modest. He's the real deal. He's also a reserve soldier in the IDF. And as I said, he's been in Hebron. He's been on the front line since October 7th on and off. And basically, he knows what's going on, and he speaks firsthand about what's up in Israel. And what I like about Matan is that he's in it for the right reasons. He's completely fucking unapologetic. He takes the fight to the haters and is fearless in responding to their lies and obfuscations. He's a truth seeker, a truth teller, and he gets attention online with his approach. Comedians are funny, but comedians are serious too. Where Matan is funny is he's funny about the unfunny subjects. He's honest and, like I said, unapologetic, and he's really incredibly successful in Israel with his nearly 200,000 followers on Instagram recently. The great thing is that even though Matan and I can speak together in Hebrew, he speaks great English. He's 100% proud to be Israeli, and he's someone I really want you to know about and pay attention to. And you can follow him on Instagram at MatanPeretz _
Yeah.
Underscore.
Yeah. Two underscores.
Two underscores.
Yeah.
Okay. It's very important. Two underscores. Tan, it's good to meet you properly, even though we've met before.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have a conversation.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. It's really weird to, I was just speaking to someone earlier today, and she was like, "So how are you doing today?" And I'm like, "Well, the day before yesterday, there was a suicide drone attack 5 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
Which killed a person and 10 people. So it's really weird to say it's okay, because it is, but it isn't."
Yeah. But it's, I think, I don't know. I'm talking on behalf of myself. I'm in this like fight mode ever since I got here from Mexico. So nothing really like scares me or just throw me out of balance anymore, because I'm just in this constant like fight or flight mode. So, drones attacks or like, I don't know, all this stabbing or whatever, like it's something that I really like take in consideration. Like I don't get excited anymore, it's I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
You mean the drama?
Yeah, it's just, I got stuff to do. So I try not to, sink in it too much. But I don't know if it's a good thing. It's like the point that I'm at right now.
Well, yeah, I think that's what people don't seem to understand is that we're really living it here. Yeah. And you get used to it. You just get used to it and you get on with it. But I know it is fucking hard. Anyway, listen, usually the way that I start the podcast is I ask a question. So I'm going to ask you a question, then we'll just fucking take it from there.
Okay, let's go.
And then I know what I'm doing. You're the one with the 5 podcasts.
Yeah, I got.
So before this, you were just like, okay, don't forget to hit record.
Yeah. That's. I think. Yeah.
I almost did, didn't I?
That's the main thing.
So Matan's going to like school me today.
Yeah.
Okay, so Matan Peretz, please complete this sentence.
Okay.
I'm that.
Voice of reason.
What do you mean?
I mean that as a stand-up comedian, I have the liberty to say stuff that most people can't. And in this crazy world that everything is like unclear and everything is weird, you need stand-up comedians to say things like they are and to be the voice of reason in this insane world. And for me, in this, Hasbara and like advocating for Israel, it's because I'm a stand-up comedian, because I can't ignore the truth. So I'm that voice of reason. And a lot of people told me that They're like, I don't know, like I watch a lot of news, and then I watch your videos, and I feel like somebody is speaking my language, like somebody, like it makes sense, you know? So hopefully that's what I am to other people.
Well, I said when I introduced you that comedians are serious. I mean, I don't think that people really appreciate what it takes to be, I'm not just saying to be a stand-up comedian, but what I love about, and I want to find out from you who your favorites are, is that you're truth tellers.
Yeah.
You just deliver it in a way that is like you go there. You go to places that people are afraid to go, which unfortunately, and we've heard the Seinfeld say this and the Bill Burrs, you know, you're not allowed to say things. You're not allowed to go there. And who wants to live in such a world? Like
Exactly.
it is. So who inspires you? And mention some Israeli ones as well, and why they inspire you, like your faves.
My favorite stand-up comedians, I think, internationally, it's Bill Burr. Used to be Dave Chappelle, not anymore.
Because
I think like he started out, like when he became Muslim, I think it was from good intentions. Like he wanted to abstain from alcohol and drugs and everything, which is very important, and it's a very honorable move, especially when you're that deep inside that world. But I think he kind of lost his way. And in terms of, I always looked at Dave Chappelle as somebody who would see for himself. He wouldn't listen to anyone. He would see for himself. He would check out for himself the things that he's uncertain about. And the fact that he's just like anti-Israel without even coming here, without even trying to understand the conflict, he just going with the flow. That's very not like, that's actually against everything you try to represent. Because Dave Chappelle's whole career is like, people are telling you to think one way, fuck that. I'm going to do my way. Like, I'm going to go with the truth until I die, even if it's going to cost me like millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. So I was very disappointed by the fact.
But what you're saying basically is he's become a bit of a sheep.
Yeah.
But the problem is, what if he doesn't think, and this is the biggest problem, I think, with what we're facing as Jewish people trying to open people's eyes, which is just like, what if he doesn't think that he's a sheep? I mean,
of course he doesn't.
He doesn't. So
he doesn't. No sheep like thinks he's a sheep, you know? We're all think we're lions and then, you know, and warriors. Nobody's like, I'm a sheep. Yeah. No, nobody ever. And I think as a critical thinker and especially as a stand-up comedian, like I would never say anything about the Russian-Ukrainian war without, you know, trying to understand really what's going on and from different sources. And even go there and visit or whatever. That's why I didn't say anything about that war. I don't know anything about it. People are like, why aren't you saying something about, because I don't know. And it's okay to say, I don't know. It's, in this time, in this age, people are so afraid to say, I don't know, that they make up shit. And that's where misinformation starts, you know, because you don't want to say, I'm not that informed on that subject, because somehow that makes you less educated or whatever. So when you go on TikTok or whatever, people just say stuff. No connection to reality because they don't want to say, I don't know. And it's unfortunate. And that's why I was so disappointed, because you are a stand-up comedian, you're a truth seeker or whatever. So come and see for yourself. Like, you got followings from Israel. People in his, like, you know.
Some of his best friends are Jewish.
You know Jewish people, you know Israelis, like, you know. Like, you can't avoid us, especially in the comedy industry. You can't avoid Israelis and Jews. So, you know, it's not that hard. It's not like people that you have no connection with. And no, if you wanted to, you will check it out for yourself. But I think he's afraid to find out that everything he believes in is bullshit.
I think that's the biggest problem today, is that we're in a situation where there's a massive rhetoric against Israel and the Jewish people, and people are doubling down on it because it's trendy, right? And you go with it, and you go with it, and you go with it. But this time, and I think not enough, but this time the Jews are fighting back. You know, like we're fighting for a narrative, and I think that time is coming where the facts are irrefutable. And one of the things that's I think people are finding difficult and very, very difficult, they're going to find out, is like when you see the facts and when they are in your face, you're going to have to kind of like either kind of like admit it. Okay, I was wrong, which is something impossible for many people. Or they're going to be the some that are just like, okay, fine. But what we're facing right now is, I think, an epidemic of people who have bought into the radical Muslim Kool-Aid, and they are just going with it because they're going with it.
Yeah, I just posted a video, stand-up video, last Thursday.
In Hebrew and English?
In Hebrew.
Okay.
Stand-up Hasbara, it was called.
Oh my God, really? Is that what he called it?
Yeah, because I'm talking about the fact that, bottom line, like obviously jokes and experience with that Muslim comedian who said fuck Israel, and then I got her back. So all that stuff. But bottom line is that Israelis, we come to understand that we're not going to convince anyone, and we shouldn't. You
think so?
Yeah, because we started this as like we got all the footage and all the videos and all the photos, so people are going to be on our side. And then you see this raging anti-Semitism going, and people don't care about footage and evidence and facts. So why bother? So we got to this point, especially as Israelis, that we're not trying to convince anyone anymore. All we do is try to empower Jews outside of Israel and Israelis. And obviously have fun, because that's all you do. So when somebody's writing on my page like, you baby killer, Israel, IDF is killing babies. 4 or 5 months ago, I would go like, where the evidence? This is not true. The Israeli Defense Forces would never. Now there's no point, because you understand you will never change that person's mind.
No, you won't change that person's mind, but to the people listening, this is something that, this is something I want to touch on, which is speaking to the Jewish people and speaking inwards and then speaking outwards. But first I want to just this podcast is not like usual, like TikTok crowd and Instagram crowd, even though we'll be there. It's a lot of professionals, and I want them to kind of know a little bit about you. So
sure.
Just give me your quick bio, how you got to be a comedian, and then let's bring it to where you were when October 7th happened.
Okay, sure. So I was a musician for 15 years.
Shit.
I studied music, writing, composing, obviously singing, all this like music production systems or whatever. And then after 15 years, I was 27, and there was a song on the radio called Rock 30. 30 Rock.
Why are you laughing?
Because this song is in Hebrew from an artist called Tuna. That's his name.
Tuna's amazing.
Yeah, he's amazing. And this song is talking about that all like millennials are lost. Like we don't know what until we're in our 30s, we have no idea what we're doing. And I listened to that song, and I remember sitting in my car going, I'm lost. Like, I don't know. This is terrifying. And the next day I enlisted to my degree in communication that I got from Sapir Community College. I did it until I was 30. And the last 4 months of my degree, I started doing stand-up comedy by accident. I went into like kind of an open mic, not really an open mic because they had a lineup. And I saw those stand-up comedians, so-called stand-up comedians, like really new ones, trying out each one got like 5 minutes or whatever. Not familiar ones or something. These were really like the beginners. And I looked at them and I thought, like, if they're calling themselves stand-up comedians, I am a stand-up comedian as well. Like, and I asked the organizer to go on stage.
Wait, did you have any bits ready or just
no,
just straight up
nothing.
Spontaneous?
Straight up, because I was religious for most of my life until I was 27 years old.
What?
Yeah, I studied in yeshiva. I was a Haredi for like 2 years.
All right, time. Let me just explain what Haredi is. Haredi is, for people who don't understand, which is the vast majority. Haredi is like the Orthodox.
Ultra-Orthodox.
Ultra-Orthodox Jew. If you paint the picture of the black suit and the hat, the beard,
exactly.
That was you?
That was me.
Get the hell out of here. You should look at this guy right now. He's wearing like Nikes, high tops, celebrate life's moments, one cocktail at a time on his shirt.
It's fine. Yeah,
You really broke away, bro.
Yeah, I did.
So you were Haredi, sorry.
So I was Haredi. And, when I but I don't know how to call it, but like when I left the religion, I feel like when I discovered stand-up, it became a new religion. Like comedy was always my true religion. Like, because it's always has to be funny before everything else. and it fucked me over in the army, and it fucked me over in my degree, because you always have to be funny, first of all. Like, first of all, comedy, and then everything else.
You mean it gets you in trouble?
All the time. All the time. Like, my mom used to joke that I enlisted to the army, and then the first time I got home was like after a year and a half, because I was very, chutzpan.
You know, there's a quote by Jordan Peterson, which I love. I don't know if you like him. I do. And I've mentioned this quote several times, but his quote is, if you want an adventurous life, just be honest, and boy, will you have an adventurous life. And the thing is, we're talking about comedians, truth seekers.
Yeah.
Comedians are honest. They hold the mirror up.
Of course.
So of course it's going to fucking get you in trouble.
Yeah, it will get me in trouble every time. And it was worth it every time. And then people always told me, like, you should do stand-up comedy. You should. You're the funniest guy I know. You should do. But I was terrified by the fact of just talking in front of people. No problem singing. No problem performing. As long as I had my guitar and my band, I'm good. But just like the nakedness of stand-up comedy frightened me. Sure. I wasn't ready. And then I saw that I was at that beginner's night, and I was like, this dude is actually calling himself a stand-up comedian, which is blasphemy. You know what I mean? That's not like, all I know is from the religion. And now I switched my religions, because now I'm a very religious comic in the sense of, like, if somebody's calling himself stand-up comedian, I'm like, you're not a stand-up comedian. I'm not saying it to his face, but like, the fire is very religious of like the practice and everything I do and the commitment. Like I'm 200% in. I wish I was that into religion, actual religion, the way that I'm into comedy. So the night went on, people were awful at that comedy night, and the night ended, and the organizer walked up to me, and he's like, one of the waitresses told me, like, you do want to do stand-up comedy? I was like, yeah. He's like, you're a stand-up comedian? I was like, no, but neither
was that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, none of you are a stand-up comedian. And he was like, so listen, like, next week is a fundraise show, and I can't let somebody for his first time to do a fundraise, blah, blah, blah. So we'll sit together. And he was the host of the show. So we're going to sit together, and maybe I'll give you your shot in like 2 weeks. And in my mind, I'm like, you hosted the show. You're not funny at all. Like, I've seen your material. I'm not going to sit down with you to write some jokes, because obviously you don't know what comedy is. And I was like, listen, let's do this. The night is over. Let me do 5 minutes right now. Right now. I don't know where that came from, because that's something I would never do. I was like, let me do 5 minutes right now. And if I'm funny, I'm going to perform here next week. And if not, you can get rid of me. That's my audition for you. And he got really like, he was very, arts in a way of like very soft. Like he saw himself as this like amazing producer who discovered new talent, and I knew that's where I should go to the ego. I was like, I will do an audition for you. And it was like, audition for me, of course, and he fell for it. And he was like, okay, let me check. So I got back to my table with my brother, who was also very disappointed by the night, because me and my brother have the same sense of humor, David. And he was like, let's leave. This is an awful night. Like,
so the bar must have been really low.
Oh, God,
really
so low. So it was a beginner's night. Like, nobody was funny. No one. And the night was very difficult, because we sat front row and we were not entertained at all. And you have to look the comedians in the eye and be like, because it's not working.
I've never thought about that.
And it's exhausting.
Yeah, sure.
It's exhausting, because you can't go, because you're front row, so you can't leave.
And you're pretending.
Yeah, because they'll try making fun of you, and they're not funny, so that'd just be awkward. And, it's just going to be awkward and weird for everyone else. And David was like, listen, we got to go. I can't stay here for one more minute. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's pay the bill and go. Because the guy told me, I will look into it. And I was like, yeah, that's basically a no. And then he got on stage, like the guy, And he went, listen, like, I know the night is over. You can turn off the music because there was already music going. But there's a guy here who wants to try to do stand-up comedy for the first time. And you know me, I love to give new comedians a chance. Like, again, he's,
Yeah.
And he was like, so let's welcome to the stage, Matan Peretz. And I looked at my brother, and my brother looked at me, and he went like, go. So I was like, David, I got nothing. Like, I was bluffing. I was like, let me do right now. And I thought, like, he obviously will say this, the night is over. That's not going to work. So I was bluffing my ass off. And the guy was like, let's welcome Matan Peretz. And David was like, that's on you.
Go for it.
Go for it. It's now or never. And I went on stage, and swear to God, I don't remember what I said.
But you killed it.
I absolutely destroyed that place.
Wow.
Like, the comedians were outside smoking a cigarette because the show was over. And the crowd went crazy, like, about laughing and clapping. And so the comedians got back in. They were like, what is this? Like, the night is, all of us are outside. Like, who's performing? So they went inside, and I see all the comedians, like, just watching from the sidelines. And it was insane. I don't remember what I did. I don't remember what I said.
Did you mock the other comedians?
No.
You didn't?
Not at all. I mocked the place and the lighting and the experience. But I was in kind of a trance, and in the sense of, like, this is my one shot. So it wasn't even me. Like, I went into this trance of just, like, I was talking and people were laughing. And at some point, swear to God, I saw myself outside of my body, like, looking at me performing. It was a surreal experience. And people went crazy. And I did like 7 minutes because the guy signaled me, and I didn't know that was a signal because I'm not a stand-up comedian at that point. Yeah, I was like, oh, he's filming me very poorly, but that was a signal. And then he got on stage, and I'm just like killing it. Like, I don't know, like, talking shit. And he went on stage and he was like, guys, give it up for Matan Peretz. He's going to be here next week for the fundraising.
Did they explode? They all just like, kind of like.
Yeah. And then I got off stage, and I was like, okay, I'm going to perform here next week. I'm a stand-up comedian now.
Like, what's it like to make people laugh?
Oh, it's an amazing experience. Not just on stage, just every time that I make someone laugh, because it's a reflex,
No, I don't know.
Laughter is a reflex. You can't control it. That's why you laugh in, like, this terrible occasions and this, Yom Zikaron and stuff, that just, you shouldn't laugh, but it's a reflex. So I was a singer for years. I performed with my band, and you play your song, and the moment it ends, people will clap their hands, and it's very civil, and that's it. But when you make someone laugh, it's almost like they don't want to, but their body is just like exploding. And to make that effect on people is crazy.
Is that the bug? Is that the thing that just gets you hooked? Like, people were laughing that night. You were making them laugh.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I make people laugh my whole life. My family, my friends. Yeah, because
you seem like a funny
guy. Wherever I go, high school, army, wherever, college, I was the funniest guy in the room. But from that to go and make people that I don't know laugh, for me was like almost an unbelievable experience. And I remember seeing Eddie Murphy.
I love the way you say it with a Hebrew accent.
Eddie Murphy.
Or Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy, sorry. I remember seeing him. I think it was Raw.
Raw was amazing. But Delirious was better.
Yeah, I agree. But for me, what people don't understand is that I watched that as a religious guy. And I didn't even really got like the content as much as the fact that this dude is talking in front of 100 or thousands of people. And for me, as a religious guy, the only people who did that were rabbis. Those were the only people who were talking in front of a crowd, because they were talking like divrei Torah, and people, it was a class, or people, and it's a rabbi. You don't interrupt or disturb the rabbi, so people were just sitting there quietly. And for me, like, to make that many people listen to you, it's almost a sacred thing, because whatever you say, people are listening and people are laughing. And the only comparison I had were rabbis.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting because of what you said before. It just keeps going back to something that I really believe in, which is just like truth, speaking truth.
Yeah.
The rabbi.
There's a sentence from, I think, Shir HaShirim, I don't remember. It says, Lechu banim shim'u li irat Hashem alametchem, Torat Hashem alametchem. It says, like, boys, like, go ahead and listen to me. And it's weird because if you want to say something to someone, you're like, come here, don't go away, and then I'll talk to you. So then what my rabbi told me, it says, like, when you're telling the truth, you have no problem yelling it. When you're saying something, when you're telling a lie, you need somebody to, like, come here, So that's why the sentence is like, go far and listen to me, because whatever I'm saying, it's the truth, right? So for me, it's like, you get a microphone and you talk in front of people. If you don't say the truth, your truth, right? The thing that you believe in, why are you talking to a microphone?
Yep.
Why are you making people listen to you if you're not true to yourself? You're not telling your own truth, whether it's in a relationships or whatever. And I don't do any sex jokes at all. And a lot of people ask me, like, why? Like, you're from the new generation. The whole thing of the new generation in Israel is like talking about sex, because it's not true to me. I don't want to talk about it. It's awkward and it's weird for me because of my religious background. And I do only materials that I do is like things I feel comfortable with and I love talking about subjects. And so it happens that because I'm not talking about sex, my crowd is mainly like religious people or like ex-religious people.
You mean back in the day or still?
Still, like, that's my crowd.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I came to one of your shows, which, God bless you, mate. Because because my wife and I, we're in the trenches doing what we're doing with the advocacy, as you know.
Yeah.
And then we came out, and I was just like, I don't go to comedy shows. I just don't. I'm just, not for any other reason than
No, that makes sense.
No, I'm a hermit. So I don't go out a lot. I'm very boring. And my wife goes out all the time. And I was like, no, I like this guy. I want to go and see him. And we came to the show, and you really helped us.
Oh, thank you.
No, I mean,
really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I know, but like you really did, and we were laughing, and in a time where we were just like not laughing for a long time. And when we went, which was quite a few months ago, it was a bit of a release. But I didn't notice that because I was in Tel Aviv, and it felt like a Tel Aviv crowd. No, I didn't notice any religious kind of, but then I wasn't looking for it. So
so my crowd is either like religious people, ex-religious people, because just like me, that's the crowd that I'm attracting. And people like high tech. That's because my comedy, you've seen my show. Yeah. And it was one of my best shows.
Oh, really?
The show in Meirov was one of my best.
It was amazing.
I enjoyed it because I needed that release also. I was very stressed and I just got back from reserves. I just finished my reserve service, and that show was just like me going back to my old life, kind of. So that was one of my best shows to this day. I really remember that show. And
it was because I was there.
Oh, obviously. Oh, you're my mascot.
Going to
you should come to every show.
I will be there for every single show.
So yeah, it was crazy. And I met the people outside, and most of them are just like, just high tech or whatever, because they were like, if somebody told me outside of the show, and it was at that show, which is very awesome because it was actually that show. He told me, like, I love the fact that you respect your audience intelligence.
Yes.
I love the fact that you don't treat us like, oh, we're stupid, so you have to explain everything. And you have to talk like in derogatory terms of be like, my wife buy a lot of shit. No, you know what I mean? Like, so he's like, I laughed so hard. Like, I loved it. And I love the fact that it's intelligent. That you're not, you're not selling us. In Hebrew, you say bdichot pipi kaki.
Yeah, זה לא דחקה, זה לא...
Yeah. In Hebrew, you say bdichot, and just like the regular crap. So I was like, dude, that's the best compliment ever. But it's what I'm trying to achieve,
Let's, first of all, yes, and I think that's what I like about you and what a lot of people like about you. I want to go back because I think we could talk for like 17 hours.
Of course.
I want to get back to like you were saying about like go away when the rabbi said go away. Let's go away to where you were on October 7th.
Okay, let's do it.
You were in South America?
I was in Mexico. I was in Mexico. Me and my friends, my comedian friends, Asaf, Noam, Mo, we went to a vacation, a 3-week vacation before the winter shows. Because winter is the best time for comedy, especially in Israel. The 6 months of winter is just like, that's when you make the money for the rest of the year. So we were ready. We went on September, I think 18 or 17, and our flight back was scheduled to October 7th, and we were like, okay, we're gonna go relax, have some fun, and then we got back and go to this winter craziness, and it's October 6th, and we're sitting in the hotel in Mexico, and I'm telling to Asaf, my friend, I was like, I had enough of this country. Like, I need to go home. Like, I know it's a vacation. We didn't do much. We were in the fanciest hotels. And, love it.
Can we tell them what's going on?
Yeah. Right behind me, there's a guy putting the filling on. I love it.
Isn't it great? We're just like sitting here doing a podcast and we've got glass doors. And like in the office, across from the glass door, just really nice guy. He just put on his... Talit, and he's praying. Anyway, sorry, amazing. Carry on.
Yeah, sure.
Welcome to Israel.
Welcome to Israel. So, it's October 6th. We're sitting in a hotel. I'm just telling to my friend, listen, I'm like, this is great, but I need to go home. Like, I can't stay here anymore. I need to go back to Israel. I want my apartment. I want my friends. I want my family. Like, I want my country. Like, I can't. And we're sitting in this lounge, like cigar lounge, because of this fancy, like 5-star hotel. And they're like, you have to go, like, chill in the lounge. We're going to have like live music, jazz, whatever, which I love. And I was like, yeah, that would be like a nice farewell to Mexico, to not go clubbing or whatever. Just sit in the cigar lounge, have fun with my friends, drink some whiskey. And tomorrow morning, we're in the airport going back home. It's 11:30. And it's 6:30 in Israel. And we start getting our phones like this red alert, like, sirens going. And we don't understand what's happening. We're like, is there like red alert going in Israel right now? And the first like thought we had is like, oh, so hopefully that won't like affect the flights. Because if they get to Tel Aviv, obviously the airport is closed. And
just so that people understand, most Israelis, we have apps on an app on our phone, and when there are rocket attacks, whether it's in the north, in the west, or in the south, our phones start like getting alerts. All of us.
Yeah.
All right. So
doesn't matter where you are in the globe.
Yeah.
So we were just like, okay, what is going on? And then I get a video call from a girl I started dating before I went to Mexico. We went to like 2 dates, and I was like, listen, I'm living in Mexico next week, but I really want to see you again. So let's stay in touch. And we talked my whole like Mexico trip, this whole 3 weeks, right? And almost every day, because the hours are, upside down kind of. And she called me, like video called me. And I'm looking at her, and she's going like, oh, there's sirens going, and I hope it's not going to ruin the party. Because she was at that Nova festival. And she's doing a video, and behind her, I see people running like crazy. And I was like, get out of there. Like, what are you doing, Dana? Get the hell out of there. She's like, no, they told us the sirens will go off and then the party will continue. I was like, I don't know, and I don't give a fuck what they told you. Take your car and get the fuck out of there right now. You're 2 clicks from Gaza. Like, get the fuck out of there. And she's all about like the techno parties, whatever. That's what she likes, whatever. That's her thing. And she was like, okay, I'll see. I'll go look for my car. And then the call got disconnected. And we're in Mexico, and we get those reports of like, there's terrorists. Like what? Like the fence have been breached, and she texting me, and she's going, "We hear gunfire." I was like, "This is not like, that's not
Not the standard.
not the standard like red alerts, like from Gaza." And I was like, well, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Yeah, we hear shots and like screams in Arabic." And this whole like, I think 48, almost to 72 hours, I was awake. Obviously, all the flights got canceled, and I'm just trying to like find her, Alona. I was trying. Dana was her sister, still her sister, because she was at that party. Alona, Dana, her sister, Dana's fiance, and another friend. Did I remember her name? And I was like, Alona, you guys should run like as fast as you can to the closest, like whatever, Netivot, Sderot, whatever. Go to some, because it was like an open area, obviously. And until they, thank God, they got rescued with a policeman, picked them up with his car. She hides under a tree for like 8 hours while everything is burning like all around her. She's texting me. She's trying on Instagram, which is absurd. But she was like posting stories about, guys, is anybody coming to rescue us? Like, we're here. We hear gunfire. They're burning the fields that we were in, because they were all hiding in like this little vineyards or whatever, and they were burning the fields. And I'm in Mexico, and I'm going crazy because there's nothing I can do. I'm just sharing her stories because I got more followers, so maybe somebody will see it. And I get all this tags in the story of people who's looking for other people, and they're like, please, that's my cousin, that's my sister, that's my brother, that's my dad. Can you please post it so somebody will see it? So that's what I did for like 4 days. All I did was just like posting, reposting, missing person. And Alona eventually got rescued.
Thank God.
Thank God. And her sister and their fiance. And the crazy thing is that the guy, the fiance, he was taking something, I don't know, like shrooms or whatever. Because it was like 6 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning.
And that's what you do at a techno rave.
Exactly.
Just like people were high.
Exactly. And they had to, like, 3 girls and 1 guy, and they had to like carry him because he was screaming, obviously. And you don't want to be high when this shit is going down. So it was just an insane experience. And then I got home because all I wanted is to see Alona again.
But when you were in Mexico, did you also post your own narratives? Or just sharing?
Just sharing. And the 2 videos that I did in English that I did, where I was trying to like explain to people like what is going on as much as I knew. And then after a week, October 14th, I landed in Israel. I got like all this like weird connections from people in El Al that got here. I went to Texas, and from Texas to whatever, and then to Miami airport, and from there it was an ordeal. And when I got here, I was here October 14th, October 15th, I was in Hebron already. So I told Alona, I was like, listen, I'm gonna go home for the weekend. We should get together. We should talk. And unfortunately, like I was talking to her, and you can tell that it's not the same person, and it's gonna take a long, long time to heal from that experience, from being like for 9 hours, like afraid for your life.
And it's not just like afraid for your life. I mean, the level of barbarism and butchery and savagery.
And the things that she saw just driving in this policeman car was just like, she tried to describe it to me. She tried to describe to the people that she saw running. Like there were people just like looking for their friends or for whatever. And she sat in a police car with a girl covered in blood, and they asked her like, what happened. And she told him, like, they executed my boyfriend right in front of my eyes, and they thought I was dead. So I waited for them to leave, and I just started running. I didn't know even where. I just started running. They executed all my friends. And, you know, when you listen to that, and when later on you see the footage and the actual evidence, and you get everything is getting connected to what really happened there, when you see this and your heart is bleeding, and then you go online and people are like, why are you doing a rave outside of an open air prison? Your instincts is telling you to, like, destroy that person, destroy him to his core, like destroy his life. That's all you want to do. But you can't, because that's not the right course of action. And people don't understand the level of, like, rage, like absolute rage that we feel, like me and every Israeli, when you see those comments and those, like, smartasses who's going like, oh, they deserved it, or like it didn't happen, or, you know, all this range of beautiful, comments from people who don't know what's going on. You feel rage. That's the only emotion you feel. And you have to moderate it, and you have to do this, video and be very polite and very nice and try to explain yourself. And then people think like, oh, so it's not that bad. He was that polite. No, I'm dedicating every little bit of energy that I have not to blow up in rage. So
do you still feel that?
Of course, every day, because you see the hostages, and you get another new video from the female hostages, and you get a new video from this and from that. And, I'm trying not to think about it all the time, because it's going to drive me crazy, but it's unbearable.
One of the things that I was talking about yesterday with someone was just something that a lot of us have spoken about. But listen, the audience is predominantly not Israeli, and a lot of people aren't Jewish. And that's why I really wanted to speak to you and other Jewish voices, which is, 9/11 happens, and it's awful, and it's catastrophic on every level, but it happens, and then it's done. And then America, a country of hundreds of millions of people, they go to war.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're allowed to win that war.
But they're allowed to win that war. But also, it happened, and then you can start the grieving process. You can mourn as a nation.
Yeah.
And we're July 20-something right now. It's coming on a year since October 7th. Yeah. And we're still at war. Yeah. We're at war with, honestly, if you think about how many fronts we're fighting down in the south. We're fighting Hasbara for who the fuck knows what reason. They're fighting us up in the north. We've got the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, which we're trying to kind of like just keep in control. We're being attacked from the Houthis. We've got global anti-Semitism. And the thing about something like this is there comes a point where, okay, it happened. Let's start rebuilding. Let's start moving on. Let's start grieving. And we're not able to. And I think a lot of people don't understand. I'm sitting opposite a guy right now whose friends were there. They were speaking to him about what was happening. He was seeing what was going on. So you were seeing it. And then on the same day or on the next day, from that moment, it was like so many people saying that it didn't even happen.
Yeah.
So one is you can't grieve because we're still at war, but you're not even given the chance to grieve and mourn, because there's another front. And the other front is literally trying to get the world to understand that this really did happen. Yeah. And it wasn't right. It was beyond not right. It was all sorts of wrong on all sorts of like crazy macabre levels.
Yeah.
And it's very painful. And so, it's and it's, then inevitably we get to this kind of like depressing shit. We're looking at each other now and we're just like, don't really know what to say, because it is what it is. But it's really hard to move on. And you didn't move on because you came back and then you went straight into reserve duty.
Yeah.
Now, they called you up? You volunteered?
They called me when I'm in, somebody gave me the right term. My American friend gave me the right term of what I do. Something, oh God, kitat konenut.
Kind of like
first response.
First response unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's call it that. Of Hebron. So that's what I do. So they called me.
And Hebron ain't no picnic.
No, not at all. It's every time. There's always something. So they called me when I was in Cancun. My commander called me, and I'm trying to find Alona. That's what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm trying to share and trying to talk to her friends. And my commander calls me, and he's like, okay, you need to come. And I was like, yeah, but I'm in Cancun right now. He was like, sure, me too. I was like, no, really, I'm in Cancun right now. I don't know. And he was like, okay. So whenever you get the chance, if you even get any flights, come here. We're waiting for you. And yeah, and I did everything I can to be there. My comedian friends stayed in Mexico for like 3 more weeks. And I was like, no fucking way. Like, I have to go. Like, I have to be with my unit. I remember.
And this was not to be with your unit. Like, I have to be with my unit because they're calling me. It's just like it's something that you wanted to do.
Of course. I could stay in Mexico.
Well, I again, like, just because of the audience, like, people need to understand that people like this guy over here, they came back.
Yeah.
They came back to fight.
Of course.
They came back to defend. Well, you say of course, but like, I want people to think about that. Like, what it is when your country is at war, it's very personal. It is life and death. It isn't like going away to fight with like hundreds of billions of people in war. It's, you're putting yourself directly in the line of fire. And as someone who, I don't get called up to reserves anymore because I left the country. And then when I came back, it was like, after 12 years, you're not called up anymore. But there's a lot of gratitude for what you did, Matan. And I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. No, I felt immediately, I felt like I have to go home right now. I have to see my family and then go rejoin my unit. Like, right now. I need a gun in my hand and my squad with me right now. That's all I want to do. That's all I was thinking about while I was fucking sleeping in the Miami airport I was there for like 16 hours waiting for my flight. That's the only thing that kept me awake. I was like, I need to get back to my country, to my friends. And I got back, and the moment they gave me my rifle and my vest, and they were like, okay, so you're going to do this. So I remember doing the patrol with my friend. And I remember like full tactical gear, my rifle, my friend. I was standing on this like high hill watching over Hebron. And that was the first like moment ever since October 7th. That was like a week and a half after that I could breathe. Like, I was like, okay, I'm here right now. Like, everything's going to be okay. Like, that was, for me, it was like such a relief to like, I'm here. I'm at my post with my squad. Like, it's okay. So that was because my commander told me, like, you can stay in Mexico if you want. Like, you can stay as long as you want. We're good. We're doing fine. Don't ruin your trip. And I was like, dude, my trip is ruined. Like, it's not, I'm not going to stay in this 5-star hotel while you guys, while this whole country at war. I won't be able to enjoy myself at all. Like, I was on the news 24/7. Like, I didn't leave my room. Like, I ordered room service. I didn't leave my room and just waiting for my flights.
We were in the same boat. On October 7th, I was in Germany and for a friend's wedding. I was separated from my wife and my kids. And from abroad, it felt like Israel was, the first day it felt like, really bad.
Yeah.
Like existential bad. We have to get home. And it took me 4 days to get back.
Yeah.
And it was traumatizing.
It was traumatizing.
So you got back, you got to your unit, you're in Hebron.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about, because I want to get to how I discovered you and how a lot of people discovered you. Is you started making videos.
Yeah. Because I thought that I did the videos when I was in Mexico. Now I have my reserve service and I need to focus on that. And I got a lot of messages of people going, please, like, keep going with the English videos. We want to know what's going on. And I was like, okay, I'll do like once a week if I got the time, between the shifts or whatever. And I did. And those videos like gained a lot of attraction. And then I did one, I remember, with my uniform because I didn't have the time. I was between shifts in my car, in my civilian car. And I sat there and I was like, okay, the car is literally the only quiet place in this area. So I'm going to close the door and shoot a video and edit it and post it and, and do my shift and forget about it. And that video really was blowing up. And ever since then, I was like, okay, let's do the videos from the car and with my uniforms. Nobody care because I don't have the time to change my clothes. And, I got no time. They can call you up and you have to be ready in a second. So, yeah, so that was...
what was it about the videos you think that resonated with people?
A lot of people told me that I'm their boots on the ground. So they appreciate that. And I didn't think, I wasn't thinking about that, but I was like, okay, that makes sense. When they see an actual soldier in Judea and Samaria talking about this, it's like the viewer experience is way different than just some guy with a tie, talking about Israel. So this was one of my major response. I got reached out from a lot of American veterans, Army veterans. A lot of them were messaging me and were like, dude, we appreciate what you do. It's not easy. We love
encouraging.
Yeah, we love the fact that you're serving your country and doing this. So, that was one of the surprises that I got. A lot of American veterans, amazing people. They were just I know what you like. I've been to I was in Iraq. I was in Afghanistan. What you say is just hitting a nerve in a good way. That's what we dealt with. And when they told that to their family and friends, people were like, no, you're exaggerating, And then they see a guy saying it on video and they're like, yeah.
That's what we went through.
Yeah, people don't understand that's what we went through. This radical Islam and this crazy riots. That's what we didn't film it and talked about this, but that's what we're, yeah. And then I got into a beef with a veteran, somebody who claims to be Greg something, who claims to be a veteran. And I thought I don't know anything about the American Army. I don't know how it works. I don't know how the rank works. I don't know, nothing. And he doesn't know anything about Israeli army. Obviously, nobody does. People are claiming to. Somebody commented on one of my videos. He's not even a soldier. He's a comedian. I saw it in his LinkedIn. And I was like, dude, really? You have no idea. He was like, why? You didn't even serve the army because it didn't say so in your LinkedIn. Why would I? Why would I write my army service in my LinkedIn? So that's how little people know about Israel. But. So I got to this argument with this veteran, and he's a very pro-Palestinian.
Yeah, I think you went back and forth. And you were posting what he was saying. And
yeah. And I think those videos were just people were amazed of how he just say shit. No, he just showing this random footage and acting like he knows everything. And then I took his video, tore it down part by part, and then showed the actual truth. And I think those videos, even for me, the work was a lot, but it was so satisfying to disprove everything he said. Every single thing he said, I disproved. And for a lot of people, it was very interesting and very amazing to watch. And I got a lot of messages about that.
I think also something that you do, Matan, and this is something that you're very skilled at, and maybe it's because your personality, I don't know you, but I said it when I kind of rewrote the bio that you sent me, which was 1.5 lines long. Thanks a lot. that you're unapologetic and you take the fight.
Yeah.
And it's not from a place of just wanting to fight, I want to fight you. And I was speaking to Mia Talias, if you know.
Yeah, of course. I love Mia.
Mia's amazing. There's a lot of amazing. That's the silver lining in all of this is that we're kind of getting to know.
Mia is one of my favorites.
Me too. And she was sitting right where you were sitting a week ago, and she fights for the truth.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really resonated. There you are. You're a comedian.
Yeah.
You came back from your vacation. You are boots on the ground. You're in the IDF uniform, and you are fighting. But then these people that exist in the world that are spreading lies about us and spreading lies to the middle ground, which is not millions of people, it's tens of millions, it's hundreds of millions of people. And there's a big, big fight there. And it is I think that the Jewish people are depending on people like you.
Yeah.
And people say it about me too, but like we're talking about you, people are depending on literally boots on the ground, people that really know, who have no reason to lie. And I think that taking the fight to these people and doing it in a way that is literally unapologetic because you have the truth on your side is so critical. And even I remember the first video I saw of you, it wasn't when you were in your car. It was when you were outside of your car and you were talking, you were in uniform, you're in Hebron, and you had an argument. And the argument was so crystal clear that I remember fucking transcribing what you said. And I even wrote you that, so I connected you. And I said, listen, what you said is amazing. Can I use this? And you're like, yes. And I think that, and you say, of course, you know.
Of course.
Of course. I think that what really resonated also is your way. And I really want people to understand how important that is, not to just let people like you do it, but like to inspire others to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I think that
important.
you are, I think that do you feel that responsibility?
Of course. All the time.
As I don't like to use the word influencer because I don't look at myself as an advocate, as an activist.
As an activist, as an advocate. Yeah, 100%. It's the fact that, again, a lot of people, especially from the United States, told me, and Canada actually, told me that they love the fact that I'm not, as you said, like I'm unapologetic. Like I'm just saying this stuff like they are, and I'm not trying to apologize about anything. Like this is the truth and this is what's happening. And it's not like, I'm sorry about, no. Like, and it's coming back to what we said at the beginning, empowering other Jews. That's, you know, when we understood that there's no convincing anybody. So all you do is empowering Jews in Israel and Jews outside of Israel. That's all you do.
So I want to talk about that. That's something that I really want to talk about because I don't know, you're familiar with some of my work because you see,
of course.
You see what I'm doing. But like my agenda is absolutely to speak to the echo chamber. It's absolutely to double down on the echo chamber because it's so important right now to empower, to educate, and to lead by example. And that is to simply say, I'm Jewish, motherfucker. Yeah. I'm Jewish. Yeah. Let's start with that. So, like you've said it a couple of times in this conversation, we said speaking to the Jews, speaking to the Jewish people.
Yeah.
What do you think of, and this is where we get into some, you know, not that what we haven't been talking about isn't serious, but to some more kind of like organizational Jewish Hasbara. Hasbara means basically explaining the Jewish situation. Mm-hmm. What are we doing wrong? What do we need? And how do we get there? Which is a very big question. But I do want to ask you, because you're on the front lines.
I think what we're doing wrong, and have been doing wrong for the past 75 years, is the fact that we always explain ourselves after some shit happens. They're doing it, pro-Palestinians and Gazans and everybody is doing it 24/7 around the clock. Always. They never like relax. They doing it always. People are getting, I'm sorry to be blunt, but people are getting like dead baby pictures every day. And some of them are even AI. Some of them are, children are not from Gaza, which was my latest video about.
Yeah, they take pictures from Syria.
They just threw random children from Ukraine, from Russia. They just take random children and say, her name is Hamdulillah, and she was, you know what I mean? So they're doing it 24/7. So when shit happens, they're prepared. They know exactly what to do. We always respond like afterwards, and
who's we?
The Israeli government.
Okay.
They always respond. The response is always delayed, and I don't know if you heard about that, which was a disgrace. The fact that everybody was like, I was in Mexico, and everybody, it was like the first 2 weeks of the war, and I was like, where is Misrad Hasbara? Where the fuck is those guys?
Misrad Hasbara, by the way, for everyone, is the kind of like the agency that's meant to speak for Israel with everything that's happening with the war.
Yeah, it's and
it was non-existent.
And in like in general, you know, that's a misrad, that's an office that get, you know, annual like salary, whatever. And everybody's like, where is Misrad Hasbara? What is going on? Like, why there isn't no official response, no official video, nothing. And the woman that was Galit something, that was in charge of that, She was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a fox in my office." And everybody was like, "Really? That's what?" And they closed that office, and everyone is doing it, are doing it privately. Like all this, I'm sure you got that too. Like
It's people like you and me.
yeah, how much the Israeli government is paying you? Nothing.
Nothing.
And that's a disgrace. They should pay me. They should pay you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know how to do it, you don't have the resources, you don't know how to do Hasbara for your country, pay for the people who was doing it on their own time, you know? And that's the crazy thing. That's how much people are so disconnected from this Jewish identity Israeli thing, is the fact that if you come from my country, I will come for you. My country don't have to pay me to do that. That's my instinct. That's my instinct. And people are like, they're paying you because they can't comprehend the fact that you will stand for something if you're not being paid. And lately, in the past few months, we understood why. Because all those pro-Palestinians are getting paid. They getting paid from that charity or another, and there were a lot of exposures. There was a lot of Gazans that opened up like a Head Start page and took the money and disappeared. So people around the world don't understand that we're doing this because we care. They refuse to accept that. They're like, oh, they're paying you. No, they're not. The Greg, the guy that was beefing with, he was like, oh, you're a communication intelligence officer. I was like, dude, no, no, I'm a combat. Like, I'm not even an officer. I'm doing this because I care. And people don't understand. People don't want to believe. And it's crazy. It's the Muslim comedian that I did a video about that says, fuck Israel. I was like, you can't come from my country and expect me to be like, okay, each one got his opinion and we're all, no, that's a very Jews of the diaspora kind of thing. That's not Israelis. And that's what I'm saying in the bit of stand-up Hasbara. That's the difference between Israelis and Jews from the diaspora. You coming for us, we're going to come for you.
So let's talk to Jews in the diaspora right now. What can Jews, because it was interesting, you said the Israeli government, and to me, you know a little bit, but like what I've been doing is I've like for the last 15 to 20 years, I've been very public, not on Instagram, but like on Facebook and always talking for Israel, and no one's paying me. No one's,
of course,
none of that. Recently, I've been trying to go for funding and it's all private, but in these times, you kind of like, you said the Israeli government, but to me, it's beyond the Israeli government. It's like the Jewish leadership around the world. And I'm not saying that to shit. I'm not saying that to shit on anyone.
No, that's true. I agree.
But I'm saying it so that the Jewish people understand that Jewish leadership dropped the ball, because while we have been sleeping, or they have been sleeping, one thing that you never do, and I'm a brand builder, if you don't speak for your brand as a company, then, and all the competition is, then you're going to be kind of like wiped out eventually. Now, if those other companies aren't just competing with you, but they want to put you out of business, then you're really going to be wiped out.
Yeah.
So that's why what you said is exactly what you should be doing as a brand, is you talk all the time when times are bad, for sure, but also when times are good.
Yeah.
And you're you're so on the money about that, because 75 years, we've been kind of quiet. We haven't invested in narrative, and the talent is out there. There's a lot of amazing people.
Of course.
All you need to do is just get them all together and get organized.
Yeah. And you know what? And pay them.
And pay them.
And get it organized, and don't that's the main problem with the Israeli state of mind. It's like, and if
he'll do it for free anyway.
Yeah, and also the Israeli state of mind is like, you don't mess with it until there's a problem.
Right, very short-sighted.
It's very short-sighted in a way that it works for now. Let's let it work. So, and then you have huge problems and like, oh shit, oh wait a minute, we have to no, why? Just be on it 24/7.
So do you think that we've woken up?
Hopefully, I don't know. I really hope so, because that was a disgrace. That was terrible. Like the fact that just separate individuals had to do it, and
we're still doing it.
We're still doing it.
No one's knocking on my door.
It's a disgrace, and the fact that people think that we're getting paid tells you that we should get paid. you know? And I don't really care about the money. Let somebody else do it. Let somebody else, get the money, but do it.
I think that it is important. Like, I can tell you that my branding agency, I've invested, I'd say since October 7th, 90% of my time is Jewish advocacy, which means that I'm with the clients that I do have, I'm giving 100%. But yeah, it's a shit ton of work.
Yeah.
Writing scripts, filming them, editing them, animation, illustration, design. It's work. It's work that a lot of people are not getting paid for, which would be fine if there was a massive mechanism for Israeli and Jewish advocacy coming from government bodies or organizational bodies, but there isn't. There still isn't.
No, there were several news papers, like news channels. They were like, "Can we use your videos?" And I was like, "Sure." I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna post it together."
But I can't pay you.
But there wasn't even a discussion about payment. You're like, you produce the content, we're gonna just post it in our pages.
So I'll tell you a little story. I haven't talked about this publicly, but I don't know if you saw it. I made an animation called Star of One, which was basically on the plane back from Germany. I realized that the one thing that we need to do right now is, besides fighting, is we need unity. So I wrote a piece, and within 3 weeks, I made an animation with a team that I found. Should have taken 3 months, and it cost tens of thousands of dollars. And I raised privately, and as soon as it went out, it went viral. It's been seen 4 or 5 million times. And then the state of Israel reached out, like the spokespeople, and they said, "My God, this is an amazing video. Can we use it?" And I was like, "Of course, take it." And the second sentence was, "But we can't pay you." And then they took it to all of their embassies and they translated it. I'm not angry at the people who are trying to do their job, because those people on the ground who asked me, they're fighting the good fight. Mm-hmm. But it's at this stage inexcusable to me that you don't have the leadership.
Yeah.
But also from Jewish organizations, I think. And it brings me to all these other people that I want to talk about right now who are doing, I think, incredible work. And we talked about him a little bit before off mics. We were talking about Michael Rappaport.
Yeah, that's true.
Who I think is just he doesn't need to be doing what he's doing. He's not he's also not one of those narcissistic kind of people. Yeah. Heart's in the right place, and he's just taking the fight. And you've collaborated with him,
of course, all the time.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, we became really good friends, and and he had some bad experiences with people who were trying to ride his back to whatever. So we were talking about that, and we just clicked as friends, because obviously he met a lot of people when he came here. A lot of people who were doing Hasbara, also me and you. We met a lot of different people, but it's very rare that you're I want to be friends with you regardless. So
you just click as a human being.
Yeah, as a human being, which I would never meet him in other circumstances, but so it's just weird, and all this. I think that you have to. The Israeli government is really the whole thing is all the money is going to bitachon. The army and the Kipat Barzel system, all this.
All good. Yeah.
But if you're so big on security, on bitachon, you should be very big on Hasbara.
Yeah.
That's a whole other war that we are currently losing.
Yeah, big time.
We're winning the actual war, the physical war, but we're losing the Hasbara war, the mental war.
Which is so important, because if you can imagine that for, let's just say, not even 75 years, let's say the last 20 or 30 years, if Israel and Jewish leadership around the world had invested in arming the people who know how to communicate with the tools necessary, then on October 8th, it would have been a very different situation, because the playing field in the world, in terms of the world's narrative, our narrative has been hijacked.
Yeah.
And we're so behind the curve. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that for the next 20 to 30 years, that yes, you do invest in bulletproof vests and helmets and guns and kits and helping families who have been displaced and hostage families and all of that stuff, but you dedicate a chunk of serious money and time and effort not into a branding and not into explaining, but understanding just how critical it is and how it can actually save lives.
100%.
And I don't think that they get that. All right, listen, I've got a couple of, I don't know, what's it called? Spitfire questions?
Let's go.
I guess.
I love it.
All right, yeah, but you're good at, you're you know what? I want to come to your podcast and I want you to like show me how it's done.
Of course. Of course. We'll, yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, you always have some friends there. You have all sorts of people. What are the podcasts, by the way, that people should follow?
The podcasts are Olim TLV. That's actually, building a bridge between Israelis and newcomers.
So let me just say OLIM TLV.
Yes.
Olim TLV. Yeah.
Olim TLV. Yeah.
Olim TLV.
So that's my English podcast.
Is that's with another girl, right?
Noah.
Noah.
She's the head of Olim in TLV, the page.
She's lovely. Yeah.
She's amazing. I love Noah.
Yeah. So you just come on and sometimes you have guests coming on and
sometimes, yeah. Sometimes if we like somebody and we invite them. So you should come, obviously. Like
I would love to.
I will tell her.
I'm not funny. I'm not very entertaining.
Doesn't matter. We're just talking about like goofy stuff.
You're meant to say yes, you are.
No, of course, you're amazing and funny and charismatic and velvety.
Velvety. I'm so velvety.
Amazing.
These mics are pretty good.
Yeah, they're amazing.
All right, so that's one. And isn't there another one?
I got two more in Hebrew. I got mine with Raz, my partner. Nichnasim lepinot, it was called. It's about the entertaining like business in Israel.
Entertainment
business. It's amazing. Ken, biduk. And the other one is me with Asaf Yitzchaki, the stand-up comedian I was in Mexico. And it's like a group of friends. It's a group of comedians. We're having fun.
You just get together. Oh, that's when there's 4 of you or 5 of you.
4 of us. It's basically a TV show on YouTube, which is just insane. So that's where I go to like do not think about anything else other than punchlines. That's the show.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, we're gonna put those in the. Yeah. I'll put those in the comments too. Okay, I'm gonna ask you some stupid questions.
Let's go.
They're really stupid. Okay. Hummus or tchina?
Hummus.
Falafel or shawarma?
Shawarma.
Okay, favorite falafel shawarma in Tel Aviv? Come on.
I don't have in Tel Aviv. I have a favorite hummus in Chulon, and I have a favorite shawarma in Ashdod.
Okay, fine. It doesn't count then.
Sure.
I'm from Tel Aviv. Vodka or arak?
Arak.
Fuck off. Listen, so Shai Davidai and I have become mates, and he was bludgeoning me and hammering me because I'm like, I don't like arak.
Arak is amazing.
I don't know. I just can't get into it. Okay. Bike or scooter?
Bike. Yeah, I hate scooters. They make me nervous.
They're insane. Have you just walked around the streets of Tel Aviv lately?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's crazy.
If you come to Tel Aviv, I think pedestrians actually need to wear helmets.
That's true.
Summer or winter?
Winter. I'm a stand-up comedian, 100%.
Oh, because that's when you make the money.
Winter. That's where I thrive.
Just because of the money?
Because of the money and because I hate heat and just, ugh.
Isn't it? But, okay, so when I saw you downstairs and I brought you up,
yeah,
it's like fucking 40 degrees outside or something. He's wearing like long pants and the shirt that you're wearing, even the sleeves go down past the elbows.
Yeah. I'm a winter guy.
You're a winter guy. Okay. All right. So this requires thought. You said already before Bill Burr and used to be Dave Chappelle.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some Jewish comedians right now that have kind of like come out a little bit.
Yeah.
Any favorite ones?
Ari Gold. Ari Gold? His name? No. Elon Gold. Elon Gold is from the Entourage.
He's amazing.
Elon Gold, very funny. I love him. Yeah. He's awesome. I love the fact that his comedy is very Jewish and it's awesome. I like it.
Have you seen him live, by the way?
No.
So I went to his live show. He was amazing. He called me out in front of everyone. He's like, hey, I ate Titan. I'm that Jew. He's there. He was so funny. And again, like I'm a hermit. I don't go out much. He was amazing. You have to see him live. Okay, who else?
I forget the guy's name.
Describe.
A beard. Also very Jewish, very Israeli.
Modi.
Love him. Who else?
What about that kid? 22-year-old Yechiel Jacobs.
Yechiel is so funny.
Didn't you do something with him?
Such a nice guy. Yeah, we met. We met
too.
He's such a sweet guy, Yechiel.
He is, by the way, he's 22. I'm interviewing him as well. And he came over to my house and he met my wife and a few other people there. And we were just like, what a mensch.
Yeah,
He's just
100%.
like just a good I don't want to say kid because it sounds
He's a good
patronizing.
kid. No, it's fine.
Is it?
He is a good kid.
Yachiel, we apologize, but we're calling you a
he's
kid.
22. It's fine. He's a good kid. He's a very nice individual, and he's very sweet. I enjoyed meeting him very much.
And he is very similar to you in the sense that he brings these very uncomfortable truths.
Yeah.
And he puts them out there in such a funny way. Okay.
That's true.
Do you exercise?
Yes.
What do you do?
4 to 5 times a week.
Are you serious?
I do like weightlifting and Muay Thai training.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
I have to get on that. Apol Beitar?
Beitar.
Okay. Describe Israelis in one word, motherfucker. And
In one word.
in one word. Take your time. There's no rush. I don't think I'm going to edit any of this, by the way.
You shouldn't.
I'm just going to just
Post it. Unapologetic.
okay. Describe Americans in one word.
Apologetic.
I think that's true. Okay, last one.
Yeah.
And let's be serious about this.
Okay.
one. Describe Palestinians in one word. And I'm saying it respectfully, not like to
No, of
illustrate
course.
the joke.
Describe Palestinians in one word. Unfortunate.
Tell me why.
Because they got stuck in this weird situation of they're almost being forced to stay refugees. Because if they're not refugees anymore, basically there's no conflict, Because if they're growing out of it and having their own career and their own life and, and education and higher education, there's no reason for this conflict. But this 3 or 4th generations of refugees that shouldn't be. Like, we gave you the Gaza Strip, right? We all hoped back in 2005, we all had this little bit of smidge of a hope that you guys will take it and make it the Singapore of the Middle East. We have like roller coasters and casinos. And we're like, okay, and we will go visit because Israelis love roller coasters and casinos. And the moment we realized that they took it and hopefully not actually the Palestinian people, obviously Hamas and the Islamic Jihad and the Muslim Brotherhood and all those, amazing people, they took it and made it like a hub of terror. And I'm thinking about the regular Palestinian dude, right? Not the terrorist, not the radical. I'm just thinking about being a Palestinian in the Gaza Strip must be very unfortunate, very terrible. And I think it's just to be stuck in that situation. Jordan doesn't want you. Egypt doesn't want you. Nobody wants to accept any refugees. And it's just not fair because, we only have the state of Israel. It's the only Jewish country. They have 22 or 24 Muslim countries and nobody wants them. And for me, that's just so unfortunate. That's not fair, because if you're a Palestinian and you want to have a higher education and you want to, just go to live in the States, whatever, like many Israelis, by the way. You want to go live in the States and live the big life and see New York.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't really do it. And not because of the Israeli government, by the way.
No, their leadership.
Yeah, it's their leadership.
It's their leadership and also the people behind their leadership who are not even Palestinians.
Of course.
What makes me the most sad is, well, first of all, I completely agree with you. A lot of people don't understand that Israelis want nothing more, nothing more than peace.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you said about Gaza is a lot of people say we gave you Gaza and then we get it's an open air prison and all sorts of things that are not true. But what we never say is that really Gaza was a pilot. It was a real pilot for potentially the 2-state solution, which was with Judea and Somalia. And that's why so many Israelis right now don't want a 2-state solution, because why would we want...
That was the main argument. The main argument was give them that strip of land, they will make their own country. And if that is successful, we will give them the parts of the West Bank and we'll give them parts of this and we'll have 2 countries. But it didn't happen. It would never happen. It would never happen because of them. Not because of us, because we gave you the chance. You ruined it. You pooped the bed. And now you're like, we want more chunks. Fuck no. We tried it. Didn't work. It went horribly wrong. Didn't work is an understatement. It went horribly wrong. So, no,
Yeah, you see, I try and keep it spitfire and we get into heavy shit. You see how bad I am at this?
No. Go. Keep going. That's
okay,
awesome.
Okay, I got a few more. Are you optimistic or pessimistic in general?
I want to say optimistic.
Okay. What's your favorite Israeli band? Or two? Or three?
Favorite Israeli band? Full Trunk. Love them.
Okay.
They do English and Hebrew, which I love. Osher Cohen, I love him. He's a very, very successful young man, Mizrahi singer. And let's say Israeli band or
old school. Anything old
school? Old school. Wow, we got old school. We got Machina. Yeah, we got
Machina's good.
Machina's good. We got Idan Reichel.
Amazing.
Oh my God, there's so many talented individuals.
I'm a big fan of Monica Sacks.
Monica Sacks are also very good. Amir Dadon.
Love Dadon's amazing.
Love him. I think he's the best male vocalist in Israel.
You said Tuna before.
Tuna. Ravit Plotnik, Nechinech, it's all the hip hop.
Well, these are probably all your friends, right? Because you're
not really. I hope maybe someday they'll be my friends.
I would imagine that they would be. Okay, favorite Israeli TV show?
Wow.
If you watch any at all.
I don't really. Favorite Israeli TV show?
I got one.
What do you got?
Fauda.
Fauda's fine. I think the first 2 seasons were good. And then it was just like, no.
Really?
No. Yeah. I lost interest. For someone who's doing this, obviously not what they're doing, but I'm in Judea and Samaria and you know, I'm in the first response squad. It's just,
no.
I can't watch it.
Because it's too Hollywoody or too real?
Too Hollywoody and too like intense where you don't have to be intense. It's just like trying to be intense all the time. And it's not like, it's weird. I don't like, props for them for doing what they do. Amazing. And they're on Netflix. So who am I?
Yeah, but just like, not your cup of tea.
Just not my cup of tea.
Okay, I'll tell Avi Zakharov that because I'm going to be interviewing him.
Oh God, no. Tell him I love it.
And Leo Raz is a friend of mine.
Tell him I love it.
I will. I should actually do the podcast with all three of us.
Yeah, amazing.
Okay. Your toughest career moment?
My toughest career moment was Purim 2019. Terrible. Yeah, I did. I opened for a stand-up comedian, and it was the most horrible show I ever had in my life, and it made me rethink everything.
It was just like you bombed,
like you wouldn't believe.
Like you just had a bad show,
and the kids were tormenting me. They were cursing me. They were shouting, screaming. It was just a terrible, terrible, terrible experience.
So you didn't do what Bill Burr did in his show when he went to. What did he do?
I did it in Ashkelon, actually.
When you took it to them, you took it to the crowd. You're like, fuck you, motherfuckers.
I just started going at it in Ashkelon, and they loved it.
Yeah, of course they loved it.
But yeah.
Especially in Ashkelon.
Ashkelon, because if you're not aggressive, they belittle you, and then you get too aggressive, and they're like, yeah! You know, so that was it. But that wasn't a bad show. That was a good experience.
But the bad one, what happened? I mean, without getting too much into it, but like,
no. It's just like, it was, they told us, Ofat Noir. Like youth, it wasn't.
Youth,
it was like small children, and they were terrible, terrible children, and really just like the
scumbag children.
We say amit shel hazevel, like the juice of the garbage.
Oh, that's such a great. It doesn't sound good in English.
It doesn't sound good.
Amit shel hazevel.
Amit shel hazevel.
Amit shel hazevel.
Yep.
In Kolmene with chunks.
In chunks and hair. Yeah, absolutely. So it was 14 minutes of just absolute hell.
Wow. And it made you question.
It made me question my whole life and career choices, and even if I'm in the right career. So yeah.
Wow. Okay, this is a serious one. I really want you to think about this because you have a role to play, and this thing is not going away for a while, and we know that. What do you want people who really don't know Israel to know about Israel?
Okay. When you wake up in the morning, and I think most of us think that we're good people. Like you wake up in the morning and you wash your face and you think like, I'm good people. Like I'm a decent human being, right? Before you even start your day. Why? Because I respect everyone, and skin color doesn't mean anything to me. Sexual preferences doesn't mean anything to me. political views, don't care. Because I really just want everybody to live together in peace and understanding. And if the world works like that, we'll all have a better experience of what we're having. And that person obviously is not perfect. That's the state of Israel, surrounded by countries that don't share our values, don't share our, way of life. And the only reason they're not attacking us right now is because it's not in their benefit to do so, because we have the agreements or whatever. So if you think you're a good person, you're a decent human being, and you feel like you want to respect everybody, doesn't matter preferences in sex, gender, whatever, that's what the state of Israel is trying to do in the Middle East. And if you don't know the Middle East, please study. Please educate yourself about the Middle East. Don't know Israel. Don't talk about Israel, right? Educate yourself about the Middle East. Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, all those guys. After you do that, educate yourself about Israel. And then you'll understand how, the differences of, you will relate more to Israel than any other country. And I think that's the main thing.
Matan, you're my kind of people. You're good people. I'm very grateful for your voice. I know we're in the same kind of world, but I think that but what you do and how you do it is so important. And I know that you really inspire a lot of people.
Thank you.
To say,
you too, obviously.
Yeah, it's not about me, but we're talking about you. You are really inspiring, and you're funny as shit. So I want everyone now to just again, before we wrap, where can they find you? And let's say it slowly so they can spell it out.
Okay.
Get your pads and your papers, people. Get your keyboards out.
I'm mainly active on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Also YouTube. But for the international audience, I'm not really posting English materials on YouTube yet because I feel like I'm not ready, but will be soon, hopefully.
Should follow you there anyway.
Yeah. So Matan Peretz on each platform is MatanPeretz. That's Matan Peretz. You can find me wherever. I have my website, Matan Peretz, matanperetz.co.il. And my shows, my English shows are on that.
Yeah,
so.
if anyone's coming to Israel anytime soon, I'm Mr. Hermit. There's nothing remotely fun about me. But I went out and the guy made me cry, and my wife, and it was really good. So you gotta follow Matan.
Thank you.
And you've got to come to his shows, and it's a pleasure. And I can't wait to speak again because I know we will.
Yeah, let's do it again.
All right. Okay.
Thank you. Toda.
Well, that's it. Thank you for joining me on I'm That. I hope you enjoyed the chat, and I hope you'll join me for our next guest. In the meantime, definitely hit subscribe, whether you're on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, or any other platform. And if you can, leave a comment, give it a like, and tell your friends. That would be brilliant. Stay tuned for the next show, and see you soon.